When you get into the pathways, you are going to choose your own experience. There are 10 different paths that each have a different emphasis on different competencies. We've identified 5 competencies: public speaking, interpersonal communication, leadership, what that one is, management, and confidence. These are 5 basic competencies. And then when you get into the pathways, you'll find that the different paths have a different emphasis. They may approach all 5 of those competencies. They may only approach 4 or 3. And each one is going to have more emphasis on one or another. Everybody has, at one time or another, logged into their profile on the Toastmasters International. Okay, right now that is where all your personal information is stored. All the projects that you've completed, or projects, the levels of educational levels that you've achieved, your offices that you've held, your sponsorships that you've been credited with, etc. That's your personal record right now. What's going to happen under Pathways is that same sort of stuff, only in the Pathways version is going to be what's called Basecamp. Now, you're the only person who can look at your own profile right now, but under Basecamp, everybody in your club will be able to see something, not all, but something of your information. And your Basecamp manager is, I think your VP of Education is Brad. He's going to be the main, there we go, lovely. I'll just continue with, is that your computer now, or is that this one, Wade?
No, there's an adapter cable that you need.
Okay.
To hook up before you leave.
Oh, so you brought, that's your adapter cable, is that right?
No, it was there.
It was there.
I can do it.
Okay, so none of your stuff is there? All right, terrific. Okay, on the Basecamp, that is where your Basecamp manager, who is Brad, is going to be making sure that whatever level you have progressed through gets registered at Toastmasters International. But there may be a case when Brad might not be here. He might be on a vacation, hopefully not, but he might be sick. He might have run away with the letter carrier. I don't know, but something might have happened and he might not be around. So your members still need to be able to progress. What Toastmasters has done is they have, although Brad is that VP of Education, is the Basecamp manager, he's going to have 2 people, 2 backups. The president and the secretary will also both be able to do the same thing he does on Basecamp. So all 3 of you should become familiar with the Basecamp manager's duties. Whenever something happens that needs attention, when you have, as a member, progressed to a certain level, or you've completed a certain level, an email will be shot through to the Basecamp manager. And then the Basecamp manager knows that he or she needs to action it. That email will go to the email, usually it's the email of the club, the contact email of the club, for attention. So all 3 of those individuals, those Basecamp managers, should have access to that same email. If that's not already the case, then you want to make some adjustments to make sure that happens. You might want to set up a brand new email that all 3 have the passwords for. Okay, we now have, I'll come back to this. These are the 10 paths, and as you can see the numbers there, some of them are missing. There's actually one presentation last week that only has 2 numbers, public speaking and confidence. And you see the public speaking, number 1, is more bold. And that means that's the main emphasis. And then the confidence is a little bit milder. You can see, if you're a visual kind of person, you can look at this, and you see this on other resources. You can see where your different competencies are focused. Going too far there. This is very touchy. Maybe not. Each path has 5 levels. And these are the levels that need to be registered with Toastmasters International. And then, because we haven't actually started doing it, I'm not sure, but I believe you are prevented from hitting the next level or starting the next level until you register the level that you have already been working in. You'll see in level 2, there is 2 required projects plus introduction to Toastmasters mentoring. And I love that because right now, mentors are people who have been in Toastmasters for a while, are experienced, they understand the Toastmasters program. So they're told, okay, you've got a new member, take care of them. But how do you take care of them? Just based according to your own understanding. This way, there is a guideline, there is a kind of a program to be able to mentor people coming in. Everybody, because all 10 paths have that introduction to mentoring as part of level 2. So everybody's going to have that introduction. You'll see a little bit later on, for those who are interested, they can go further in their mentoring program. If they go all the way through the Toastmasters mentoring program, they can become an accredited Toastmaster mentor, which can very likely translate into usefulness in other endeavors, your workplace environment, possibly some recreational or volunteer environments. There's 59 projects under our current system. I'm not sure what number I quoted you before, but it's 59. We love our recognition. You can see all my pins here. We like our ribbons, our certificates, and we will have under the Pathways recognition, actually more recognition, I believe. Badges and awards and certificates are all virtual. The certificate, I'm sure you can print out if you like to have something framed for your wall. And the nice thing about this is that not only do you get awarded for your Pathways progress, but you can also, as club members, when you recognize that one of your members has done an exceptional job in something, you can give them an award. And if 3 of you all recognize the same person for the same award, all 3 of you can give that person that award. And it'll just register on their base account as, I think it's going to be a little +3 or something like that. Evaluations. Right now, you have the 1 or 2 page evaluation in the manuals, but with the Pathways, it's going to be a little more formal. There's something similar to what you've already seen, but here, it's a numbering system 1 to 5 on different components of what they're trying to achieve, such as vocal variety, as you see there. And here is your criteria. So it makes the process of evaluating a little bit more formal, a little bit more comprehensive. You got more guidance as to how exactly do you give them that feedback. And the person receiving feedback is able to understand more readily or more intricately what it is that, or what level they're at and what they want to maybe work on. There's that mentor program that I mentioned earlier, and if you do go all the way through the 5 stages, then you get, a minute on itself, no, next page, there we go. You get your virtual recognition of that competency, which is being an accredited mentor. So this is getting started in Pathways. You probably all know that the release has been moved forward a little bit. It was originally going to be April 24th. It is now May 3rd, which I like because May 4th we have our convention, and if it had been released on April 24th, there would have been a week and a half of people getting very, very excited and involved in Pathways, and I think that topic would have rather dominated the convention. This way, it will have preceded the convention, but it won't have dominated and it won't take away from the usual convention atmosphere. Getting involved with Pathways, as I said, it's easy, it's designed to be easy. And you'll have an email, every member is supposed to be getting an email probably about a week or a week and a half before the rollout. And then on the day of, that one is just to alert you that watch for the rollout. On the day of rollout, everybody's supposed to be getting an email saying, it's here, now you can get into it, okay? So when you do, when you do enter into the Pathways, you'll start with Start Your Learning Experience. The Navigator is really a very, very comprehensive instruction manual on everything Toastmasters. Toastmasters, what's the phraseology? All Toastmasters, everything, all, whatever, it doesn't matter, I don't remember. I have brought here a kit, which you're going to be in charge of, Brad. This is the Pathways starter kit, as it were. It has a hard copy of the Navigator, so the club will have a hard copy, which can be referred to very, very easily during club meetings if you want to. Any member who wants to maybe borrow it, would have that opportunity. However, in that kit, and I'll explain a little bit further, but there is also a USB with the navigator on it. So you can, all the members can copy that USB or put it onto their own laptops. I think Blaine will probably do that before he leaves here today. Okay. So there's the navigator. What the navigator does is it basically takes you from whether you're a brand new member or you've been a Toastmaster for a while. It introduces you and explains and gives actually a comprehensive explanation of what Toastmasters is all about. It explains the meeting roles, how a normal meeting progresses, the role of timer, grammarian, auctioneer, etc. It explains what the officers do, and it does indeed, of course, talk about pathways. You're going to make a choice. You're going to either choose to do pathways online or in print. But you don't want to choose print, I'll tell you that right now. I know you won't. The reason you won't is because it's got a negative positive and a negative negative. The negative positive is that instead of having access to 10 paths, you're only going to have access to 5 if you choose printed materials. And if you choose printed materials, you're not going to have access to your base camp and your materials from anywhere you go. If you're in the online version, if you go on a trip to Australia, to England, wherever you might want to go, you've got your computer and your internet access, you can work on your pathways. It's available from anywhere. If you got the printed version, you're going to have to lug all that with you, which you're probably not going to do if you're traveling. And the negative is it costs more. So if you want to have printed materials, or go with a printed material version or route, you're going to pay an extra $25 US, and you're not going to get as much access. And if you got the online version, you can print the stuff anyway. So even if you do like to have paper to turn, because some people do, you can print it. So you can still have it. So you're going to choose your path, and you see the prices there. Every member of Toastmasters is going to have their first path included in their normal fees. There's not going to be any change in fees to reflect that. All the fees that go into Toastmasters International are the same as they have been for the past year and a half or two or whatever it was when we made the last change. But you get your first path free. Who here belongs to more than one club? Okay. You two will have 2 paths free of charge. It doesn't matter whether it's 2 clubs or 5 clubs. If you have more than 1 club, you get 2 paths free. If you only have 1 club, you get 1 path free, and then each additional path will cost $20 US, just like our advanced manuals, our advanced communication manuals cost extra money. And I don't know how your club operates, but in my club, my home club, we provide our advanced manuals to the members as part of the membership fees. If your club does that, you can also pay for their additional paths yourself. Like the club can pay for it, rather than the member paying and then asking for the money back. Once you've gone in, you've started your pathway journey, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take an assessment. The assessment simply identifies what you want to do, what you would like to have happen. Did I go too far? No, I didn't. You're going to choose, first of all, 3 topics that interest you the most. That might be the hardest, I don't know. Choose the 3 topics that interest you the most. Then, there's going to be a number of questions like this, where they'll give you a sentence, and then you're supposed to rate how much that sentence applies to you. I'm not sure, I don't remember how many questions there were, maybe about, I don't know, 8 or 10 questions like that. At the end of all that, they will come back to you and say, based on the information that you recorded, these are the 3 paths that seem to most closely represent what you want to get out of Pathways. Then it describes them. There's the best match, and second and third, or third and second, whichever way you want to look at it. You get the full description, so read through them, and if one of them really speaks to you, then that's probably the one you want. However, if none of them really speak to you, you're not tied to only those 3. You can still look at the other 7. And here you'll see the very, very brief description, and if something in the brief description speaks to you, you just read more and it'll expand. I've noticed that when working in Pathways, when you want to go from where you are to somewhere else, and you click on it, and I don't know, maybe it doesn't bother you, but sometimes you need to click on, exit whatever you're on the computer, and then it says, are you sure you want to exit? Or you click on the print key, do you really want to print this? Yes, that's why I said so. Well, with this, you click on something and a little drop-down menu comes, and it says launch. So you got to click on launch. If you don't click on launch, you're going to sit there waiting for something to happen that's not going to happen.